What do you guys think is Street Fighter 6's best aspect to it? The most interesting, coolest part about it, the biggest strength that the video game has to you? Notice nobody's saying OST in the chat, but something I think is really cool, the combo system. We've been watching some of the best players in the world battling week after week in all these events, and every single set, you hear me say, oh no, we did the wrong combo right there. They could have spent level 1 instead of level 2, or oh no, like, this person thought they could kill and they couldn't, and oh, they just did this and then that doesn't work. Basically, every single match, someone does a wrong combo. Now, why is that, right? First and foremost, you guys probably remember that one of the things about Street Fighter 4 that people talked about a lot was how difficult combos are, right? Because there was things called one-frame links, and these links were very, very tight, and executionally, it was one of the challenging things to do in the game. For some characters like jabs, like Vega's jabs and stuff, but linking like lights into mediums and mediums into heavies, or linking moves in general to each other, there often was a very tight window, and you can try to mitigate it by doing things like plinking, right? Or you can double tap or do whatever, but the links are just hard. There was lots of things too, not just one-frame links, but there was super jump cancel combos and super jump cancel ultras and other things like that that were really difficult. Doing one-frame link FADC into this, into, you know, there's a lot of executional stuff that I think was a barrier for a lot of people. So come Street Fighter 5, it's the opposite. Even like the one-frame links have a buffer on them to make them like 3-frame links. And most people are just doing the combos all the time and not really worrying about it. And a big thing about that game was a lot of people being like, dude, you just do button into V-trigger into a combo that no one can drop and yada yada. And like a lot of people complained about the lack of execution in that game in a way that was satisfying to them, and they wanted something fun to do and something interesting related to the combo system. And Street Fighter 6, I think, is a very smart way to solve maybe some of the problems that you have with both 4 and 5, and come up with a new system that allows you to have difficult combos without super hard execution, right? Because let's be honest, I don't think they're going back to a game where there's like one-frame links and it's really, really hard to just execute basic combos. You guys would be pissed. The sentence one-frame link like scares people, and like people who didn't play Street Fighter 4 especially. But what Street Fighter 6 does that I think is so cool is that the execution of the game is similar to 5 in terms of the buffer and doing medium into heavies. The hard part about combos in 6 and what makes them so difficult is the resource management and situational awareness and decision making around them. Every single time you hit a move, you need to know if the move is regular hit, if the move is counter hit, if the move is punish counter, because counter hit adds 2 frames, punish counter adds another 2 frames. And then if you're drive rushing, there's 4 extra frames on top of that, plus 2, plus 4, plus 6, plus 8. Depending on how you hit them. On top of that, every time you hit someone, you need to decide what combo you want to do based on 4 different resources at the same time. Your drive gauge, your opponent's drive gauge, your super meter, your opponent's super meter. Can I spend a level 1 early to get rid of their drive gauge, or a level 2 or a level 3? Can I drive rush or not? Should I do an EX move or not? What's max damage for my character with 2 drive bars, 3 drive bars, 4, 5, right? Is it better to do EX into drive rush into another drive rush because you just have enough meter, or is it better to do 3 like just grounded drive rush combos, etc., etc., etc.? Do I need to save my super meter? Do I need to save my drive gauge? And all of that has to be decided basically instantly, right? It's difficult such that every top player makes mistakes literally every set. They found a way to make combo decision making difficult in a game that doesn't have high execution, right? Because when you think about a game like this, if there's not high execution in the combos, how do you generate difficult combos? And it's based around decision making. You leave lots of decision making points in the combo. Very interesting aspects to basically every single hit that's fun to optimize and interesting to think about. And when people do master it and they do the right thing, it makes it even more impressive when you're like, wow, this person knew the optimal punish when they have this amount of meter to do this, and then barely burn themselves out and then get the kill with 1 bar instead of 2 or whatever. Like, you know, recognizing when you have weird amounts of drive gauge or super gauge and getting the right combos, or like do a combo that builds you the most amount of meters so that then you can build a level 3 versus 4 and 5 as examples. You kind of just do the right combo. And like in 4, you either do it or you drop it because of the execution, or 5, you just like do it as long as you're correct about maybe managing whether you want to pop V trigger or not. But 6, there's so much interesting combo variety, interactions, basically every game. You have to decide how you spend all of your resources, or how you shouldn't spend all of your resources, that make for fun aspects. It's a really smart, interesting system that like basically only exists as a way to replace the execution part. The hard part of the combos are not necessarily in your hands, they're in your brain. You may know that when you drive rush in combos, You don't build bar. You cannot build drive gauge after, right? You're like locked out until a window until after the combo is over. However, if you use EX moves, you can build drive gauge. So to give you an example, if you have full drive gauge, right, and you get a hit like this in this game, when he throws EX, notice his normal, he's like still building drive gauge here. When he's spending EXs, he's able to build extra drive gauge. So routing around EX moves is actually the best way to combo most of the time. It's one thing that makes Bison really strong, or Ed, or any character who doesn't need to use drive rushes. So if Ed does something like button into EX flicker and then does light DP into heavy blitz after, he builds like a bar back from the 2 bars he just spent, and then he does like a meaty button, and then he's already at like a bar and a half back, right? And the game has consequences for spending stuff wrong. For spending level 1 or 2 when you could have like killed without meter, or spending level 2 when you could have killed with level 1 means you don't have a level 3 for the next round or whatever. You build meter really fast in this game, so if you're capped at level 3 and you're not spending your meter in any kind of way, that can be a problem. And if you burn yourself out, you might just lose the round instantly, right? Do you dump the level 3 and put them on a pixel and hope you can find the next hit, or do you save the level 3 and just not spend it and be like, well, they're gonna live on like this much life? It's like an interesting aspect to the decision making strategically of the game that like allows you to flex your knowledge as a player in like a really interesting way. And a lot of times when someone does the wrong combo in high level play, it's not immediately so impactful that it's like, oh, dang it. But a lot of times, like, oh, we could have killed this way instead of that way. That's a shame. Sometimes it is devastating. Doesn't putting the skill into the player's brain make the textbook knowledge heavy problem worse though? I like video games that are hard and challenging and make the player come up with cool solutions. I think basically every game besides fighting game, when something cool gets created, people are like, oh, did you see that sick tech? And this guy's aim is so cool and he's doing this and he's doing that. But like in a fighting game, I think a lot of people just associate anything that you learn that's difficult with like, ugh. I know you put problem in quotation marks, but this is the problem with fighting games and yada, yada, yada. I think it's like the coolest part about the game. If you talk to people, there's a lot of people who just say that the combos in this game are just button into drive rush and a button into drive rush and a button into special into level 3, and then that's it. That's like the cash out combo a lot of times for characters, particularly in matches where you don't have time to optimize with lots of EXs and manage your drive gauge well. But the cool thing I think about this whole equation is your hands need to be executing the combo while your brain is solving the puzzle, and those two things can be like in sync or like flub. There are many times where people will do a drive rush combo and then hit a button that doesn't combo off of it because they're thinking about some other part of the combo. If you want to play the game for 10,000 hours or something, right? You don't want a game that can be very easily solved and like figured out and optimized out in 500 hours or 100 hours or whatever, right? And it's like what makes this game system so unique, and it's the way that this game can have like hard combos, not executionally, but like in terms of decision making, while not having super high execution in them. If you are not at the highest level optimizing this in a way that makes a lot of sense, you don't really have to, right? You can just do button into drive rush and do your combo, and then do your Oki, and if you hit them again, do button into drive rush and then do your combo and do your Oki, and like not really engage with it in the same way. But the better you get and the more you play the game and the more you want to optimize, even this combo here, 4 EX gauges in this exact combo, and like you can do EX into EX into EX into EX and a boom boom level 2. Like this combo is sick, right? And he optimizes all this extra little damage, bing, and his opponent lives on a pixel. I actually went into training mode and found that he could have done an even more damaging combo. But that's something that makes this kind of situation fun, right? Like it's hard to know what the exactly correct right answer is. Maybe the biggest strength the game has to me. The game built a complicated combo decision-making structure out of its resource without increasing the execution barrier in the game is cool. Anyway, now that I got that out of the way, if you're wondering why people are being mean to you, it's because we're discussing something interesting and fun. You came in and then immediately said, combos aren't hard, and then you basically ignored all of the interesting topics about the game we're talking about. What I would say to you is maybe consider, if other people are trying to talk like humans, you should also try to intelligently engage with them instead of typing the stupidest thing that comes to your mind immediately all the time. And I think your day-to-day life will improve for that. Even if your first message was very stupid, after like maybe the 12th message, if you had the stream unmuted, you probably would realize there's another discussion here happening that you could engage with that wasn't just, I think all combos are in Street Fighter 6 is easy and the game's like this and stinky. Thank you.